198 mass shootings have already occurred in the United States in the first 21 weeks of this year. Mass shootings are, as we all know, a frequent occurrence in the United States. The massacres did not happen by chance. Everything was premeditated violence. There is always a trail of behavioral warning indicators in each of these circumstances. This video recounts some of the most horrifying mass shootings that occurred in the U.S. in 2022. We'll also try to cover how many people were attacked, what the motivation was behind each shooting, etc. Stay with us till the end of the video to know details about the shootings, including the recently deadly shooting in Buffalo, New York, and the facts related to them. January 23rd, California. Brianna Steins, who was celebrating her 20th birthday, and Marnisha Hamilton, her 25-year-old sister, were among the 4 victims in a deadly targeted ambush at a house party in Inglewood, California. 3 persons were pronounced dead at the site, while 2 others were taken to the hospital. According to investigators, one of the victims rented the house for the party. Inglewood mayor reported that the surviving victim, a guy, is in critical condition. He has a lengthy criminal background and indicates gang involvement. The identities of the other deceased persons were not immediately known. The incident was described as an ambush-style shooting, with numerous suspects participating and shot casings from an assault-style weapon discovered at the scene. This is the most brutal crime scene in a single home or location in Inglewood since the 1990s. January 23rd, Wisconsin. 6 persons were discovered dead inside a house in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Around 3:45 p.m., police were summoned to a home for a welfare check. Officers came to find 4 men and 1 lady dead. The following morning, another man was discovered deceased inside the house. Police stated that they do not have a suspect in custody, but they did not indicate whether they believe the suspect is among the deceased. They didn't say anything about the victims' relationships. Police also did not reveal whether or not they had discovered the firearm. February 5th, Texas. As authorities confronted him, a guy slaughtered 4 members of his family, including a kid, before shooting himself. One shooting scene was reported overnight Saturday in Corsicana, according to Corsicana Police Chief Robert Johnson. A short time later, deputies from the Navarro County Sheriff's Office uncovered another shooting scene at a residence in Frost, some 20 miles west of Corsicana. Officers discovered a man and a woman who had been shot and murdered in Corsicana, as well as a guy and a child who had been shot and killed in Frost. 2 more victims were injured in the Corsicana shooting, while a third was injured in Frost. One of the victims died later in the hospital. The suspect's vehicle was discovered after cops used GPS to respond to the shooting in Frost, and police arranged for a vehicle monitoring service to switch off the engine to stop the man as he traveled down a country road. Officers approached the vehicle and discovered a man inside with a self-inflicted gunshot wound to the head. He died in a hospital a short time afterward. February 28th, California. The 39-year-old gunman opened fire inside the church in Sacramento, just east of the city, where he and his kids were having a supervised visit. Before turning the weapon on himself, he had killed 5 people, including his 3 children. The 3 girls killed were aged 9, 10, and 13. Another man, who was not recognized but accompanying the family on their visit, was also killed. The mother had a temporary restraining order against the estranged father and was out of town at the time of the shooting. According to a domestic violence specialist, the interim restraining order should have barred him from possessing a firearm. There were numerous possibilities for how this could have played out, and it is a tragedy regardless of how it plays out. There is simply no explanation for how these acts of violence and abusive domestic relationships occur. March 12th, Maryland. Baltimore police were investigating a gunshot in northwest Baltimore that killed 3 persons and injured a 4th. Officers arrived to find 4 males inside a vehicle, all with gunshot wounds. After arriving at the hospital, 3 of the males were found unresponsive and confirmed deceased. They were all 25 to 26 years old. The 4th man, who was 73 at the time, was taken to the hospital with non-life-threatening injuries. There was no hint of shooters, as the police said. March 19th, North Carolina. Fayetteville Police Department said on Owens Drive, a shooting happened in the parking lot of the Baymont Ramada. At around 9 p.m., officers responded to a report of a gunshot. Officers and medical staff arrived and discovered 4 victims who had been shot. 1 person died at the site, while 2 more died in the hospital for their injuries. Another person was brought to the hospital with potentially fatal injuries. Officers later discovered a 5th victim who was being treated at a hospital. According to a hotel resident, "When I heard the bullets from my room, I went out to the balcony. I counted maybe 8 or 9 men. They were firing." Police stated that they do not believe the shooting was random, but no information regarding a motive or what sparked the gunfire had been revealed. April 3rd, California. According to the Sacramento Police Department, an exchange of gunfire occurred between at least 2 groups of men with hundreds of bystanders present. While at least 4 gunmen were thought to have been engaged, 1 of them was killed in the gunfight, and the other 3 were charged with murder. 6 individuals were murdered and 12 were injured in the horrific shooting. Smiley Martin, Dondre Martin, the 2 brothers, and Umtala Payton were among the 4 gunmen apprehended. Devazia Turner, the 4th shooter, was one of the 6 individuals killed. Over 100 shell casings were discovered at the location of the incident by police. April 20th, Minnesota. Duluth police discovered 5 deaths in an East Hillside home, including the suspect. In Hermantown, the Hermantown Police Department responded to a welfare report. They were looking for someone who was not at home at the time. During the injury, Duluth police learned that the person Hermantown police were looking for in the welfare check was inside a residence in Duluth. They were aware that the individual had access to weapons. Police did not specify how the people died right away, but they did claim everyone who perished was related. May 14th, New York. At about 2:30 p.m., authorities were summoned to an active shooter with a semi-automatic rifle at Tops Market in Buffalo, New York, while live streaming on Twitch, killing at least 10 people and injuring several others. He also published an online manifesto in which he identified as a white nationalist. The shooter was fully equipped, dressed in military fatigues, and ready to engage in a shootout with police. The security guard at the business was a retired police officer who shot the offender, but the bullet had no impact because he was wearing a protective plate, according to the Buffalo Police Commissioner. The suspect confronted our retired officer, and he was eventually shot and died at the spot, stated the commissioner. The gunman then continued his rampage through the store, killing many people before being apprehended by authorities. At that time, the suspect held the gun to his neck, the commissioner said, adding that police convinced him to drop the weapon before arresting him. The attack resulted in 13 persons being shot, 10 of whom died. 3 more casualties were rushed to local hospitals, where 2 were said to be in critical condition. The other victims sustained non-fatal injuries. According to a 106-page online manifesto thought to have been released by the gunman, he was motivated by a conspiracy idea that white people are being supplanted by other races. He claims to be 18 years old and a self-described white nationalist and anti-Semite in the document. The United States has experienced the most number of mass shootings of any country. According to one survey published in Time magazine, 31% of public mass shootings occur in the United States. According to the study's findings, the United States and other countries with high firearm ownership rates may be especially vulnerable to future public mass shootings, even if they are relatively peaceful or psychologically healthy based on other national factors. We hope that the rate of mass shootings will be reduced very soon, no matter what the cause of these incidents may be. All right, we have come to the end of the video. Share your thoughts with us about mass shootings and also tell us what type of videos you want later on. See you next time. Till then, goodbye and thanks for watching.